Good morning, Mr. Renzi.
Good morning.
At some point, you said that Europe's populists will eventually be defeated by reality. So where do we stand today? Let's consider the example of Italy. How close are we to the point of seeing that the expectations created by the populists to the Italian society are not being met?
In Italy, we are in the middle of this battle because Salvini and Di Maio, the leader of Lega and the Five Star Movement, won the election and continue with the policy of promise. But today, Italian economy show the first signal of weakness. So my view is that in the next months, in the next 1 year, maybe 2 years, will be clear the great mistake of populist bet in my country, and so we work to create an alternative about it.
At a structural level, what could you point out as the major problem of the Italian economy today? The taxation, the lack of productivity, the weak banks? Where do you think that emphasis should be given?
We have to reduce taxation, of course, and my government was the first to really reduce the taxation. We have to reduce the gap in infrastructure between north and south. We have a great high-velocity train from Milan to Napoli, but not from Napoli to Bari, from Napoli to Reggio Calabria, not in Sicily. We have to particularly invest in the credibility of Italian system. And the problem of this government, the new government, is they promise everyone a salary for everyone, independently from the job, with the reddito di cittadinanza. And that is not only a stupid message for economy, that is particularly a stupid message for young people. We have to give this message to people. Please try, please risk. Please, you can also fail, but the failure is a part of life.
Italy has the experience of proportional representation and is rather familiar with unstable governments. Greece is flirting with the idea of an electoral system of proportional representation. Do you find it a good idea, especially during this phase in this Europe?
I lost my job because I tried to change the rules of politics. So I'm not the most able expert in this field, exactly because in Italy the problem was, and unfortunately is, and I afraid will be, always the same: the lack of stability of government. Just to make an example, we changed 65 governments in the last 72 years. And my government was the number 3 on 65 in terms of longevity. This is unbelievable because I served only for 3 years. But those 3 years, this period is the period number 3 for a government after Second World War. So what is the point? We need stability. And for stability, I'm not sure proportional system is the better solution. If you change a government every year, you are not believable, particularly in Europe, in which the presence of the same tables is absolutely crucial. So I haven't the possibility to give suggestion and advice to my Greek friends, but I believe for Italy, the only way is give stability to government. Unfortunately, Italian people refused that in the referendum of 3 years ago.
Have you regretted the referendum that eventually led to you leaving the governance of Italy? If you could go back in time, would you make a different choice?
If you think about it, we can say, oh, maybe the referendum was a mistake because we stopped a course of growth. But at the same time, frankly speaking, I think our idea was give to new leaders the possibility to be a leader. Without a change in the rules, Italy will continue to change every year a government. Today is the year of Salvini, the next will be a new, yesterday was Berlusconi. We have to transform Italy in a normal democracy with a government who will be able to make the government for 5 years. So if I come back, it's easy today say, okay, I cannot involved in a referendum, but really a referendum was the most important reform, more than Jobs Act, more than civil rights, more than digitalization of taxation.
It is now well known that Greece avoided Grexit in the nick of time. Which moment do you remember most vividly from the events that took place during the first half of 2015?
I was near to Alexis Tsipras, and I remember an unbelievable night. Of course, the approach, particularly of Germany, but also Netherlands and other countries of the North, were unacceptable. Unacceptable. I remember a great, strong litigation when they proposed a fund of 50 billion with a headquarters in Luxembourg with the Greek assets. And I joked, we can use this expression, it's not correct, with a colleague, Prime Minister, okay, you come back to Greece, also the European Cup of 2004, I think. What you can ask to Greece again. I remember the night very strong, and I remember also the reaction of Tsipras, because of course the position of Merkel and Rutte were too much. Personally, I think that the conclusion of agreement was a good conclusion, particularly for Europe. Because we have, of course, Greece having great public debt, as Italy and all the countries, Japan and other countries, but Europe have a public debt for Greece, who is the public debt in philosophy, in culture, in ideals, in the values, in the migration welcome. So I think the deal was a very good thing. At the same time, I believe in case of defeat, of course, that could be a disaster for Greece, but Europe without Greece is not Europe.
Do you think that the initiative of Alexis Tsipras to hold that referendum was a good idea?
When Tsipras decided to make the referendum, I was very surprised and very negative in my view, but I respect the decision of Prime Minister of Greek people. Now I think the history show, and I'm very clear about it, and we are out of election in Greece, out of electoral campaign. I think Tsipras saved Greece. We can.
From his own mistakes?
I haven't the same ideas of Tsipras. I discussed against him for a lot of times, but in that period, I'm sure the decision to maintain the position in the table of the night, also with the support of Italy and France, because all the countries are against, saved the Europe, saved the Greece.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi.
Thank you.